Hi, 3D Design. I just want to talk about your photography, and I want to talk about setting up images and texts, or images and your statement, I should say statements, as PDFs. So up here, I'm going to just zoom out real quick. I'm going to talk about the photography up here, and then this is the video for setting up your files as a PDF in case you don't already know how to do that. So let me just make sure that I have these two files open as well. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is that this is the ideal way to set up your photography station. You ideally want a white piece of paper. You can get this at any craft store. You probably would get it on a roll, but they might sell you a piece of it, but you can get this at any craft store. It's maybe like 3 feet wide. And this is probably like 5 feet long. And you want to set it up. You can set it up on a table. You can set it up on a garage door. You can set it up on a wall. If you have a chair that's nice and flat, probably a chair wouldn't be the best, but like any flat surface that's perpendicular to the wall. You can use tape. I've used pins, but you can use tape. Now, if you've noticed, I've set this up next to a window where I have ample daylight. So, you know, ideally you want to use daylight. You can put this up, like I said, if you have a garage and you want to pick an overcast day, not a sunny day, because if you pick a really, really sunny day, it's just going to be too bright. So you want to pick a nice cloudy day to set this up wherever you're doing your photography, and you can pin it up to any wall and just drape it over. I know that in seminar, they tell you to use 2 lamps and point it on either side. And if you don't have that set up, you can use daylight, or if you can't use daylight, you can also use the lamp setup. Ideally, daylight is what you want because it's the best kind of light. It's really bright and it's even, but you can use lamps or daylight, whichever one you want. Now, if you notice the way that I've set this up, there is no fold here. And the reason why you don't want to fold here is because if you take the photo, if you see here the photo I've taken this photo, and there's no crease, if you fold this paper over, you're going to get a weird crease that looks like a horizon line in your photo. If you take it like this without a fold, this is going to be all smooth and you don't have to retouch anything and it just looks seamless. So that's why you don't want to put a fold in this paper. Now, if you don't have a white sheet, you can use, if you don't have a white piece of paper, you can use a white sheet, but make sure that you iron it. Yeah, I used an iron, not knowing that I was going to say that, but make sure that you iron it and you get all the creases out, all the wrinkles, all the creases, so that it's completely smooth and there's no distractions in the actual surface that you're using as your background. What I also want you to notice is that in these photos, I have very carefully framed the item. Now, I've used an iron because an iron is interesting to look at from all different angles. If you do something like a cup is very boring. You only have a couple of angles that you can look at it and it looks kind of different. It's a very boring item. So when you're making your sculptures, what you want to do is you want to think about how you're going to make your sculptures interesting from all different angles. And then you're going to want to think about when you're done with a sculpture, you're going to want to think about when you photograph it and how to make the photograph interesting to look at. So if you pay attention, let me zoom out a little bit here. If you pay attention to them, you know, I very intentionally like bunched up the wire and put it behind. And then here I've wrapped the wire around the bottom of this. And then here the iron is kind of on the wire. So I'm very intentional about how I'm taking these photos. Now, hopefully this is where my video, it's the second time I did this video, this is where I messed up before, but if you look at, these are the changes projects, right? If you look at these photos, this is all the same object, right? It's not, you know, as an object, it's a skull and it's kind of boring as just like a skull. Now, this person has changed this to make it look to, you know, they've cut it, they burn it, whatever. Look at this interesting, like, they've gotten like some interesting shapes here. Like, if you look at this one, there's like an interesting negative shape, and they're able to capture this in the photo, right? The photos are very well taken because they're paying very close attention to how it's sitting within the frame of the photo. I mean, if you look at this, there's a negative shape here that's really interesting. And then there's a negative shape here, a negative shape here, here. I mean, you know, the photos are interesting because of the way that they've framed the object in the viewfinder of their camera. The same thing goes for this one. I think this is a funny project. They're giving you like all sorts of details, like they're giving you a close-up here. This is more zoomed out. So you have a zoomed out version, and then you have a close-up. And then here, if you look at the way that this is set up, they have it so that it's, you know, it's curated. It's curated within the composition. Like there's definitely, you know, very intentional choices going on about this photo. I mean, there's a little bit of like background, like distraction, like this could have been photoshopped out, and then they, you know, they tried to Photoshop something here. It didn't really work. Well, actually, you know, this is better than nothing. I'd rather you do this. They probably just didn't know how to do it, which is fine. But make sure you know, like, I appreciate the effort trying to clean this up, even though they could have done a little bit of a better job, but that's okay. And then they have their statement at the beginning, right? But pay attention to how you photograph these objects. You want them to look interesting in the photos. Let me toggle back to Chrome here. So, you know, like, just pay attention to that. Now, again, I said this in the beginning of the video, but if you don't know how to set up your file as a PDF, this is the video to do that. This is addressed to my seminar class, but it gives you the information that you need, because I did this for seminar as well as for this class, and as I do this for all my classes. So this is the video. I think that's it for now. If you guys have questions, hopefully this helps. Now, just, I mean, the reason why I'm telling you this is because, you know, you're going to, if you're not able to take clean, good, professional, neat and tidy photos of your work, you're going to continue to get points taken off, like here and there. So this will help you get, first of all, it'll help your images look much better, and it'll help you get more points on your assignments. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully I got the video right this time. I think the other one was better, but that's okay. Let me know if you have questions. Send me an email, and I will see you on the LMS.